Back with me now is my amazing panel, Tara, Maya, Aunt Gloria. All right, so the other thing I want to talk about, but it is still Supreme Court, but it has to do with Justice Clarence Thomas's wife, Ginny Thomas, and those woo-child email text messages that she sent to the former chief of staff. Let's play this sound from, I think it was Senator Leahy, about whether Justice Thomas should recuse himself as a result.
Obviously, he should recuse himself just for what it would say about the court in a case like this. More and more comes out of January 6th. It goes beyond being an Alice in Wonderland. It's crazy that people are actually thinking that they can set aside an election, and she has shown that she fully bought into that. And I think for the integrity of the Supreme Court, her husband should recuse himself from any cases that involve January 6th.
And you know what? I want to, at the risk of boring, I want to play one more piece of sound, and this is from our buddy, Senator Blunt, this time on the whole Clarence and Ginny Thomas thing, and then we'll talk about it.
The idea that you can't disagree with your wife on a public issue and still be able to function as a judge or as a government figure of any kind, I think is an idea that's long outlived any idea that it might be reasonable. Judge,
you know that he disagrees with her?
Decide that. No, Judge Thomas will have to decide that.
Okay. The idea, well, just should Justice Thomas recuse himself from cases involving January 6th? And do you believe that if he didn't know, was it influenced by his wife's thinking, philosophy? Tara, you go first.
You know, I've often talked about the cacophony of kookery on the Republican side. Ginny Thomas is in the first chair. Okay, this woman is out of her mind. And the things that she believes are not only ignorant, but they're scary. And the fact that she has such proximity to a Supreme Court justice, the one who voted, the only one, the lone dissenter, when a January 6th issue came before the Supreme Court, is concerning. Listen, the Lincoln Project recently put out on Friday an ad called Compromise about Ginny Thomas and Justice Thomas. He is absolutely compromised. There's no way you're telling me that they are completely separate on this. And especially when the text message, when she talks about her best friend, who is that? So he absolutely, from an ethical perspective, should recuse himself from anything concerning January 6th. Whether he does that or not remains to be seen, but that is up to Justice, the Chief Justice Roberts, I think, to put some pressure on him to do it. Otherwise, how can Republicans justify Clarence Thomas not doing that when they have raised Cain about other Democratic appointed justices who have been involved in way lesser controversial things than this?
Period.
So it seems pretty obvious playing politics with it.
Right. Maya, your thoughts?
Well, first of all, let's remember that Chief Justice Roberts, when he ascended, his wife, who was an active anti-abortionist activist, stopped what she was doing because of his role on the Supreme Court and the appearance it would create about him being biased on abortion cases that came before him. That is the entire point of our ethics code for judges. The appearance itself matters because people have to have faith in the neutrality and integrity of the judicial process. It's why every other federal court judge has an ethics code that says that in it. And let's just drill down. Tara made, I think, the most important point to make that just flies in the face of what Senator Blunt said. The text message that Tara referenced between Ginny Thomas and Mark Meadows when she was begging him to tell Donald Trump to fight this. The fighting was the election results of 2020 and the Electoral College vote. And that that Mark Meadows assured her they were fighting. And then she said, oh, thank God, I was just talking to my best friend about this. The best friend language, we can't say for sure. She was talking about Thomas, but everyone knows that she publicly refers to him as her best friend. And so he should have recused himself on the first January 6th case that came before him on evidence and whether it had to be supplied to Congress. The fact is he already could have recused himself, and the Chief Justice has to talk to him. But the real problem here is the Chief Justice probably is talking to him because he made the same wise decision himself about his spouse, and that in this case, that there's no power or authority to require to recuse himself. That's a huge problem, and there's legislation pending now in the Senate.
And Aunt Gloria, I'm going to give you the last word. We've got less than 2 minutes left. You are the voice of the people, the every man and woman in America watching the nonsense here in Washington and what's going on with the Supreme Court and the Thomases. What do you make of Ginny Thomas and her text messages and what her husband should do?
Her husband should resign. That's how I feel, because it's obvious she's in control. She's looking at every case. She's making the decisions, not him. So he should resign, but he won't do that because she won't allow him. It's so obvious. But he needs to go.
This isn't the first time Ginny Thomas has acted crazy, though. Remember when she called Anita Hill a couple years ago and left that wackadoo message? And years later, I mean, Ginny Thomas has been acting. Remember, so she's been acting out of turn for a very long time. Those of us, I'm a conservative. I remember her being, kind of the nod to think about how she was a little, but it never.
We got 40 seconds, Maya. Real quick.
QAnon conspiracy theories, that's what we're talking about here. It's dangerous. He accused at minimum, and he should be investigated.
And Gloria, well, you've already said your piece. He should resign.
Aunt Gloria,
Maya Wiley, Tara.